Hi everyone, Esther here from Estherastrohealing. Thank you so much for tuning to my channel. Today's video I want to dedicate to Saturn. As all of you remember, Saturn enters last year sign Capricorn. And the Capricorn, it's very familiar to Saturn because the Capricorn represented by Saturn. A couple of things I want to mention about Saturn, which is really, really important for us to remember. You know, Saturn is the gas giant. And it's take really long time for Saturn to retrograde and get from one sign to another. It's about roughly about 2.5 years. So if you calculate every 28 years, we have opportunity to work on a certain sign every time when Saturn change. It's change as well relative to us as well. Saturn in natal chart represent energy of your tikkun, of your correction in a sense. Because when you see somebody's chart, according to Saturn, I can say many things about current life correction tikkun, according to previous life incarnation. And Saturn, extremely important planet. What is really Saturn? How for us to really to understand the Saturn? Saturn is the planet, really planet of restriction, planet of discipline. Saturn really came to help us to understand things on the righteous level, really on a truthful level. So if usually the first part of our life, Saturn giving us hard lessons in order for us to understand and learn, and then we can greatly benefit from Saturn as well. So when you look at Saturn really from Kabbalistic perspective, we can see that Saturn been given name Shabtai. And what is as well, Saturn represent Shabbat, Saturday. So this is the huge, because if you really think, what is the higher and the bigger than Shabbat? Nothing. It actually says that no holiday can overcome Shabbat. So every week we have Shabbat, we have Saturday, we have tremendous energy, opportunity to connect to our soul, to work on ourselves in order to activate the higher of selves inside of ourselves, right? So the Saturn really, a lot of astrologers try to make something from Saturn, like really scare people from Saturn. But if you really think, Saturn represents our best interest. It's like you decide to go to see a guru, and when you study from guru, you not question, you completely trust and understand. So Saturn is like a good teacher, good guru. He's giving you homework. He's required of you to really follow up, to be on time, to be truthful, not to manipulate other people. What you say, it's exactly what you think, your intention. So if you really think Saturn, it's one of the best planets we have, because if you really know how to work with Saturn, you can work on your tikkun. What is the tikkun? Your correction. It's one of the main things we can. Because according to Kabbalistic astrology, when you take a chart, two major things you need to look at the chart. It's number one, your south and north node, which is really important. It's represent where your soul came from, what's as well the life lessons. And Saturn is the grandfather, like a really caring, strict grandfather who really wants you to finish your tikkun, to work on yourself. And therefore, you need to really learn how to work with that. I will go through all 12 houses, because right now Saturn in Jupiter in full retrograde. So when they're in full retrograde, they actually losing the power in a sense. For us, they affecting us even more by being closer to us, because every time when planet retrograde, it's not just it's moving back, it's actually getting closer to us. So this is the great opportunity. Now, one thing we need to understand, last year Saturn moved from which sign? From Sagittarius. What is the Sagittarius? We were required for the last 2.5 years prior to Saturn moved to Capricorn to understand how to study, what is the spirituality, what school of thoughts we want to connect, right? So this is what the Sagittarius is mainly about. Now, as soon Saturn moved to Capricorn, it's different ball of game. It's pure karma. And it's only one in 28 years. So I don't want us to waste the time and opportunity until next April 29, 2022. This video is very, very relevant. So I really recommend for you to check your chart. You can stop my video right now, go to the link below. I provide the information where you can go and calculate, check your, according to Sidereal Babylonian system, not according to Western astrology, because we deal directly with the sky, really astronomy, what's really happening in the sky the moment of your birth. And many times the sign you think it's not necessary because it's lost 23 degrees. You remember one of my videos, and as well under my video, I have this information. So I wanted to go in and check what really you're rising according to sidereal system. And then according to the rising, we're going to check exactly where the Saturn right now until next April, and use opportunity for you to really take this seriously and really work on it, because it's on your will. Saturn has ability to give miracles. We always say this, Jupiter, Jupiter, it's really the planet always giving us so many blessings, more than we actually deserve many times. But Saturn only gives us what really deserves, and this is the best, because what is the difference between to win $1 million or actually to plan the business, to work hard, to overcome so many difficulties in order for you to make this $1 million, but through your own talents, through sleepless nights, through so many things you need to overcome. So it's a big difference, right? Not to underestimate definitely Jupiter. As we know, one thing is what I want to mention. I always compare Saturn and Jupiter to two schools of thoughts, of Hillel and Shammai. And those of you who are familiar, and if not, I do recommend for you to maybe Google and to check. It's really amazing. Those two big giants, tzaddikim, righteous souls, live at the same time. And they always have a discussion, interpretation of spirituality. And they had different school of thoughts, but they always have a same mission in order to help people to elevate the consciousness, right? And this is really good for us to remember that. Now, as you can see on the Shammai, on his forehead, you can see it's in Hebrew, it's called tefillin. Tefillin, which is men put every morning except Shabbat in order to pray. And there's a whole system about, a lot of books reading about. But the reason I brought this to your attention, because what men have here in the forehead, you see the square, this is actually Saturn. So we need to ask ourselves, how come Saturn being used every day, daily, plus Shabbat, in order for us to connect to real truth, to real consciousness, to pure of understanding of the creation. So Saturn is really amazing, and it's really, I recommend for us to connect to the Saturn, to his energy, and to understand Saturn purpose in our chart. And I'm going to discuss houses, and as well, each house represented by certain sign. So you can use this video as well, not just for the period of time until next April. You can actually check in your natal chart as well where the Saturn, what sign is represent, and then you can check what the house I'm going to talk, what sign as well. So you can check not just according to your rising right now where it is. You can check as well where the Saturn in your natal chart, and to understand better this energy. What else I wanted to tell you as well? What really important to remember about the Saturn energy in your chart, it's we are soul before we return. Each time we return to Malchut, to this dimension, we ask actually to return many times, because our soul so high and see no limitation when we're close to Creator, right? To collective consciousness. So when we are sent back again and again and again inside of our body, we forget what we knew. But with the energy of our natal chart, because our soul choose exactly the time, the moment of the birth, and as well family and a country we're born, in certain environment, social environment, emotional environment, and lack of things. It's exactly what's missing to our purpose, to our to complete our Tikkun process. So Saturn, one of the most important planets, I can't stress enough. So I hope you will benefit from this video and you will enjoy this information. Don't forget to subscribe and to put like only if you feel you benefit from this information. And I'm looking forward right now to connect to each of you through your rising sign. Let's Let's begin. Dear Gemini, Saturn transit in your 8th house. So it's very, very interesting transit for you, to say the least. Remember, it started last year and it will finish next year, end of the April. And let's understand really what is the 8th house. Every time when I think about 8th house, first of all, it's number one house of transformation. You can easily call this house, phoenix rising from the ashes, at least. It's the house of real transformation. It's about death and life, rebirth, right? It's about fearless, really to understand the really essence, the truth, right? It's the house of Scorpio. Surgeon, depth, crimes, inheritance, taxes, loyalty, sex, other people money, your spouse monies, your partner money. Very, very important house, very important house, very liberating house. When you think about just two concepts, life and death, do I say more? It's like a two extremes, which is you need to bring together in order to feel balance. So let's deep a little bit more in really understand this period of time for you, because it's only opportunity once in 28 years. So in order for you, so the next, after end of the April, it's going to transfer to your house of relationship. So in order for you to be prepared for the seventh house, it's really good opportunity right now to let it go a lot of things, a lot of heavy things inside of you. It is opportunity to understand the true devotion, the sacrifice for other people, because it's represent other people money, right? Other people's sustenance. Think about other before your own needs. It's the change within on the core level to remove this illusionary fears, which is really have no substance. You will transfer your fears with with the Saturn. You have no choice. Just use it opportunity. It's you will be held by other people as well, and it's psychic ability, it's the knowledge, it's mystical knowledge, it's metaphysical metaphysics. It's a very, very important house. It's actually important good time to study even astrology, study Kabbalistic mysticism knowledge, really, really good. And it's the other people's secrets as well. So you need to address your issues with power and control, because this is not a house which is love, power, and control, right? Remember the Scorpio energy. So you maybe feel a little bit control freak this period of time. So this is why when you really understand how light of creator works, the real control comes when you letting go of control, right? This is the whole point about real spirituality, is the contradiction within. Always hand over the power to someone else, which is especially to the light, right? You do your thing and then zoom out. Don't be actor, be movie director, but not the one who control, who let the other people to act and other situations to take his their own, so to say, direction and play, and find yourself constantly struggling over power with other people. So just let other people be. Don't be suspicious. This is a period of time you might will feel more suspicious. You will feel and maybe experience even betrayal by other people, but this is good lessons for you. This is another thing, not to be reliant on people. People is just people. We need to understand that. You have to figure out what the cause of the problems at work at the moment. If you have a obsessive personality, for example, in your nature, especially as a Gemini, with the mind control as well, you have or any addiction. This is the good time to work on it. It because it's impacting your life in not unhealthy way. So Saturn will try to get you to change. It's really amazing, which brings us to change one, nothing like a eight house. I have to tell you, eight house, it's unbelievable house. It's the house of mysticism. But in order for you to feel comfortable with this energy, think about people who born on the sign Scorpio, moon rising. They've been judged by other people. Did people ever ask what is really for them to live all their life with this intense energy? What is really for them to feel what they feel? And this is how the rising in Gemini will feel. You're literally going to feel partially like you Scorpio right now. You can undergo important transformation during this time. I'm telling you, something then profound and significant. It's uncomfortable, it can be stressful, but so liberating. Like I said in the beginning, it's like a phoenix rising from the ashes. And it is usually considered one of the heaviest transits, after 12 house. I would say 12 house as well. It's not easy house as well. But again, it's not about easy. It's about how we can learn and overcome. And it's like and then like a real spiritual warrior, no matter what comes our way, we're not going to be broke apart and to find ourselves in depression or find ourselves judgmental. Opposite, we will see bigger picture, we will put things in perspective because we already have a tools. And Saturn, there's nothing better than Saturn can help us with our spiritual process. And the reason I put those two cute animals, it's like because your Jupiter in ninth house, by the way, I'm gonna leave link below so you can check about Jupiter and its house of spirituality, of giving, of sharing. And then you're in the eighth house, both house intense, but represent different sorts of energy, but still they really connect to each other. Because if you look at the sky as a fixed sign, right? Not Western astrology, like you only deal with degrees. You look at actually the stink of Scorpios already touching the place of Sagittarius, and many, and we have a wooden healer part of this process over there. So it's really important for you, Gemini, and you're such an amazing, amazing people, Gemini. Rising in Gemini, it's the only sign in the whole zodiacs which is represent to humans. It's ancients call literally like a house of God in a sense. So use this opportunity and you will see miracle and wonders. Okay, so I wish you many, many blessings and all the best. Bye bye.